Okay, does anyone have anything they'd like to share, comment on, or ask any questions?
Just want to share two things real quick. One is, yeah, I mean, I really love our system. I had two cool experiences. One, doing the form, I was just feeling my spirit body or light body as we were doing it, and it felt like my light body connected with the inside of my skin, and doing like I didn't need to do anything, just feeling my light body. It like moved my skin from the inside, and it felt like it moved it all together in an integrated way, where it felt like the movement felt integrated in a way I haven't experienced before. And it didn't require any effort. And it also felt more powerful than I'd experienced before. So that was just really cool and just also really pleasurable. And so I was just really appreciating that. And then in standing meditation, I had a experience where I felt my awareness go to the dantian, and it felt like I experienced, it felt like more clear the cauldron part, where it felt like energy was being transformed into another kind of substance and that my body was using. And then it felt like my awareness went to my heart, and it felt like energy was being transformed into love. And then it went to my third eye, and it felt like energy was being transformed into awareness. And then it went to my crown. It felt like energy was being transformed into light. And so it was really cool because it felt like I got to see more clearly like the nature of the centers and what they do, and that kind of transformational aspect. And it's kind of one of those things like I'd read about, but actually to experience it directly was a different thing. And so, yeah, I just want to share those two things.
Thank you for sharing. That's good. You know, it's it's a kind of an interesting thing because the more you do this at the end, in the very beginning, you notice these parts, you notice that part, you notice the energy, and at the end, you really realize that it's just actually just really just all love. And then you realize that the experience of love is space and light. And it's kind of an interesting thing because we don't really think about that, because like typically when we think of love, we think relationally. And so most of the associations that we have around love is relational. And so, it's kind of like we don't oftentimes think of love outside of relationship. And I feel love becomes very limiting because of that. But if we actually really think about it, love is a lot more expansive and really actually infinite in nature than that. And actually it's really pervasive because we talk about love for ourselves, we talk about passion, we talk about, like it's the actual experience of love is a lot vaster, right? But in general, we have this idea of love being related to relationship. And I feel like because of that, we don't actually get to just experience love. And one of the key things that you get to see is that when you're feeling love and you actually dial into the experience of what that actually feels like, you realize it kind of just really just feels like receiving a lot of light, and where it feels really spacious. And one of the best ways to experience it I is actually in nature. I believe that's one of the reasons why we like going to nature so much, because when we are like looking out at a vista, whether it's looking out into a sea, or whether we're looking at just out from a mountain, or just a beautiful scenery, our heart opens up. and we feel spacious. When we look at the sky, we feel spacious. And you can try this. And you just look at the space or the sky, and you just realize that as your mind is taking in the spaciousness, you just feel really free. And as you start, and if it's sunny and it's just beautiful, then you notice that like you just fill with joy or love, this feeling of love. And you just realize, oh, like really happiness and love is just an experience of like space and light. And we're just not used to it, to experience it like that. And so we have an association, it's kind of like our mind like registers like, oh, like this thing happens. Like if I have this good talk with my friend, I will experience love, So we have this association, and it's actually very kind of limited, because, that's what we realize actually. The more you do this training, because you become more aware, is that as you talk and as you can talk freely, your body opens up because you feel like you don't have to hold back. And so your physiology changes into the same kind of physiology as to when you're fully relaxed, as if when you're looking at a vista, which is again the experience of spaciousness and freedom, right? And as you brighten up and you experience happiness and joy and love and all those positive emotions, you can tell it feels really bright. Everything feels really bright. And you'll notice that if you go back into your memory of any time you were happy or you're experiencing love, you'll notice it's really bright. There's lots of light there. And so in these practices, you're actually just becoming more and more dialed into this experience. And as you actually just calm your mind and become present, you start realizing that spaciousness is all around us. It's like it's just spacious. And as you start realizing that, you start realizing that light is actually all around us too. As we become aware of space, the next thing that happens is we just start brightening up. And it's kind of interesting. You don't actually need any light, external light, to do so. You can do this in a complete dark room. You can do this in a complete dark cave. And as you just become present, and if your mind doesn't engage and you just become present, things become brighter and brighter. And so, so I kind of just wanted to just expound on that, because you're talking about the experience of energy transforming into love. And what you realize is that in the very beginning, you have all these different experiences. But what we start realizing is that at the foundation of it actually is just all love. And actually what's really accurate is when you first feel the energy density, we're distracted by something that's actually denser, because space and light is so foundational. It's a base experience. It's like the canvas upon which we draw. It's at the foundation of all our experiences. Who notices space? It's like the empty space when you draw. It's like, the space that we miss because it's just always there. And so as the chakras open and as you feel the energy and as it opens up, it becomes spacious and bright. And you start realizing love was always there. And so it's almost better to say that instead of saying that it got transmuted into love, it's better to say that you notice the love that was always there, and that there was something else outside of love was an illusion. And the reason we get distracted by energy and these things is because we actually have blockage. So it feels really dense. But once it starts flowing, then we start feeling the charge and the energy within the base experience of space and light. And as that happens, you experience love all the time. And then you experience the joy of all these charge moving through within the experience of love and light. And you start realizing, well, it's all love. It's actually really all love. It's really all space and light. So that's pretty much what I want to say, so that as you're training, you know, you can actually start from the place where nothing gets transmuted. It's actually better to say it gets revealed. To transmute, you're changing something from to something else, but actually there was never, love was never absent. And so revealed is probably a better way to look at it. And if you start from this perspective, then you can start with love, and then everything else happens within love. And when that happens, then everything is just play.
Thank you, Master Kim. This is really beautiful, and that feels really, really good. I can feel my system just relaxing into that. And as you were talking about it, I had the song, "Love is all around you."
I see. That is a good song. So yeah, what's the word for it? I think the reason I wanted to talk about this is because we are so accustomed to try and earn love. So if you have to transmute energy into love to experience it, again, it's a form of earning love. And it's very different than if we realize that love is just, as you said, all around us. Love is just always there. And if we start from that place, then we know that we might be having experience perceiving space and light. But we can, and our mind is having a difficulty letting go of fear. Because it's only fear that prevents us, that constricts us, that prevents us from experiencing the love that's already there. Because, space and light is always there. So it's only the constriction of things that prevents us from being able to experience it. So just having this understanding, I feel like is so critical, because we realize that love can never be destroyed. It can never be abolished. There's never a place where love is not present. And there's nothing we can do to earn love, because love is already there. And I feel like that's just really important understanding, so that we can stop trying to do anything to try and experience or try and earn love. I think we can have moments where we don't experience love, but that's very different from trying to earn love. And to realize that actually really love is so fundamental that not only actually do we not need to do anything, but actually we experience love when we let go. that we actually get to experience love the less we do, or the less we try, actually. And that's a, that's a difficult concept for a lot of people, because we're so used to forcing and tensing. And, you know, letting go is not easy, especially when you're in pain. It's natural to tense. And so learning how to let go when you're in pain, that's a difficult skill. And I think that's, what we're learning. To learn how to relax when there's pain. So, and anyways, just to understand that. So just kind of wanted to expound on that, so that, our understanding that love is not something we earn. And, we read about that all the time. But I feel that the more we talk about it, the better it is, because it becomes more concrete. So.
Thank you, Master. That was really good.
You're welcome. Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share, comment on, or ask any questions?
I have a sharing and a question, but I feel like probably time-wise, I should just do the sharing. I tried the moving the air feedback during the form, and came up with a kind of an experience that connected with a memory of when you're playing in a swimming pool, and if you're like to make like if you're trying to slam your hand on the water to make like bubbles underneath the surface. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but
it makes sense to me.
And you're not trying to just slap the water at the surface. You're trying to like go underneath it. And it felt, I think it was really helpful. I feel like I was onto something, and I was just sharing it to see if that was similar to what you're talking about, feeling kind of like I'm underwater and you're you're wanting to swish the water as much as possible, or to have as much of a effect on the water. Mm-hmm. And then I noticed that it kept me very extended, and so I liked the effect, but I just wanted to share to see if that was similar or on the right track as the kind of feeling the air, moving the air thing. Is it okay if I'm moving the water instead of the air?
I think the question was asked. Was that the question?
Yes. Well, that's not the question. The question is something separate about lifting weights. But this was an experience I wanted to share, and I was just I wanted to see if that was related or similar to what you were trying to have me feel with moving the air.
Yes, actually it is, you captured it exactly. It actually does feel like you're moving water underneath. And, if you remember in the past, I've said, like, imagine that you're moving through water. And that's the reason why. And it's actually possible to feel the air around us. And then, basically feel that you're moving it, and it actually kind of feels like you're in a swimming pool. So that connection that you made is, I want to say, like, spot on. And that is exactly the experience that you're looking for. And you're looking for it to become, ironically, much more aerodynamic, like in water, where you're not moving the water to create more resistance, but that sense of moving through water or moving through air becomes really distinct. And because it becomes so distinct, how do I say, like, it really actually starts helping you move in harmony with your environment, including air. And you start feeling less and less resistance with the air. And that's like really critical because it helps you relax even further. And so what you're saying is really accurate. And as you are continuing to do so, continue to move in that way, where you're seeking less and less, if you will, water resistance, you will notice that you become more and more aerodynamic. And you get to a point where that, when you start moving fast, where you can feel the rushing of the winds around you, but in a way where you can feel the winds help you move faster. I don't know how else to say it, but not only do you resist the air less, but you start getting this feel where the air around you literally actually propels you forward, and so on and so forth. And so it sounds a little magical. It really actually feels really magical because you feel like the elements are starting to help you, and you start literally seeing like almost kind of like water ripple effects. Like, like if you're underwater and you're just moving and you've got goggles on, you can see like water moving underneath. And then when you start moving in a certain way, you start feeling like you can like really move through water with a lot less resistance. But then if you start finding the right movement, all of a sudden it feels like the water propels you forward. You start really getting the feel. And all of a sudden you feel like all the elements around you are there to help you and support you. And so you're definitely going the right direction. And it's like if like I expound on it, once you start feeling it, once you start feeling in the beginning, feeling the resistance is the fun. So you should not what you call deprive yourself of that joy, of that joy that you find when you find like splashing the water. So you should max that out. But then once that becomes clear and you get bored of that, then start going for what I talked about, where really you're finding less and less resistance with the air around you until actually you feel like the air is carrying you and propelling you, and the air itself is moving you. Like if I have a picture, it's almost like skydiving. You jump down, and then all you gotta do is shape your body so that you fly, and gravity and the air around you is doing the rest. And tai chi, really done properly, I want to say, has that feel. It kind of feels like you're skydiving, feels like you're falling, and you're just shaping your body to basically, you're falling, but you're shaping the body, and the elements around you are essentially just propelling you forward. And it's a cool feeling because you kind of feel like you're actually just in space. And as you go through the form, you kind of feel that the form is being done for you, literally. And as you know, the elements, the 5 elements, the fire, right? Fire, earth, metal, and water, and earth. Wood. And what you feel is metal can actually be substituted with air or space. And it's got a really interesting element where, like earth, like when you're moving, you can really feel the earth from underneath propelling you with the air around you. And you can feel your sinews like trees stretching out from the earth. And you can feel, and it doesn't feel like yours, it can just feel like trees stretching. You feel the fire and the heat all around you, and you feel the water element actually supporting you. And so kind of think in terms of the 5 elements to balance it. And right now you're practicing metal to air, And if you keep that in mind, then you can actually, and you're combining actually metal with water because you're actually feeling water. So in your case, you're actually also bringing in water element, which is actually really good. So I don't know whether that helps you kind of visualize it a little better, but essentially you're practicing the 5 elements as you're practicing this.
Yes, mega, mega useful and very relieving too, I because I was directly going for the resistance, like more resistance, turning my hand so that I would move more water. But then because it felt good, you know, it's like a different feel. But then what you're saying is that over time, as I get familiar with that, then going towards more um, less effect. And the image coming to my mind was like sticking your hand out of a car, where as you turn it, the air goes around it, and you just start slipping forward. Almost, it feels like, you know, it's.
Yes. Wow, that's such a great analogy. That's exactly the feeling.
And so
Oh
I'm
yeah.
getting the feeling of the hand flat against the wind right now, and I'll be able to start turning it, and then to get that point where it becomes aerodynamic, or as if I was swimming through water, or if I was underwater and wanted to move my hand without trying to diminish the amount of ripples that I'm making. But right now, just being able to feel the ripples feels so good and fascinating. But your comments are so helpful because I see where it's going to end up going. Of course, oh yeah, of course, because then I'm going to be faster. You get those little whirls of energy or air or water, you know, that go. It's like causes lift, right? It's like you're talking about, the air going over the surface ends up pushing the thing forward, or causing lift, or having an effect besides just slowing it down or something. So anyway, thank you so much. I could just keep going forever.
Good. Okay. So, okay, thank you for sharing and the question. I am at time, so I gotta get going. You'll have a great time with playing with the elements. I'd like to say within love, within space and light. So, okay, have fun with that.
Thank you, Master Kim.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Welcome. Bye.